Australia is basically hitting refresh on a bunch of visa rules. And whether you're a student, a skilled worker, or just dreaming of sunshine and kangaroos, this is important to you. So, let's cut the small talk and dive into the real talk. 1. The cleanup operation, simplifying the visa system. Okay, you know how there were numerous visa subclasses? Well, someone at the Department of Home Affairs finally said, this is a mess. So, July 2025 marks the beginning of a full-on decluttering spree. Think of it as Marie Kondoing the visa system. If a visa doesn't spark economic joy, it's getting cut, merged, or rebranded. We're seeing consolidation of overlapping visa types, especially in the skilled migration and temporary work categories. So, if you're applying for a work visa now, you might actually understand what you're applying for without needing a lawyer, a flowchart, and a support group. 2. Skills assessment gets an upgrade. Let's talk about skills assessments. That confusing hoop everyone pretends to understand, but secretly dreads. Up until now, it's been a bit of a black box. You submit your papers, wait ages, and hope someone somewhere thinks your experience as a technical wizard counts. But from July 2025, Australia is shaking up the skills assessment process to make it more streamlined, consistent, and actually useful. Now, they're introducing real-time validation tools by using smarter tech to verify your credentials and experience way faster. Think digital cross-checks with your past employers, online qualification registries, and professional licensing bodies. Basically, if you lied about being a senior software engineer when you really just fixed your aunt's printer that one time, the jig is up. They're also standardizing skills recognition across states and territories, so you don't get assessed as job-ready in New South Wales, but somehow not quite skilled in Victoria. And for trade occupations, there's more emphasis on hands-on, practical evaluation, not just paperwork. 3. Goodbye points game. Hello talent categories. Remember the general skilled migration point system, where everyone gamed the system by collecting points like they were in a loyalty program. Age points, English points, regional bonus points, you name it. Well, it's not gone, but it's being slowly edged out by a new talent and category-based invitation system. Think of it like Tinder, but for migrants. Australia will swipe right on people in specific sectors like clean energy, advanced tech, critical infrastructure, rather than letting everyone in just because they're young and speak decent English. This means if you're in a hot industry, you might get an invitation without needing a gazillion points. But if you're not, you'll need a stronger case, or maybe even a job offer to back you up. 4. Employer-sponsored visas, now with less red tape. For those chasing employer sponsorship, here's a mixed bag. On one hand, Australia's streamlining employer-sponsored visas. They're rolling out a new, simplified sponsorship framework. Sounds fancy, but what it means is less paperwork for employers, faster processing for you. However, there's a twist. Employers will now have to meet higher standards when sponsoring overseas workers. They'll need to show they've genuinely tried to hire locals first, and that the job offer meets the new Fair Work wage benchmarks, which have been bumped up in 2025. So, good news. No more underpaid roles slipping through the cracks. Bad news. Fewer dodgy sponsorships means fewer easy-in pathways. And yes, labor market testing rules are staying in place, but with stricter enforcement. So, it's legit or bust. 5. Regional migration. Still a big deal. If you thought moving to the outback was just for cowboy movies, think again. Regional migration is still a key strategy for Australia, and from July 2025, it's getting more valuable. The government is extending additional incentives for skilled migrants who commit to living and working in regional areas for a set time. Think faster permanent residency processing, bonus eligibility points, where applicable, and more flexibility with skills recognition. The new regional migration push also includes funding support for regional employers, especially in agriculture, aged care, and health services. So, if you're eyeing smaller cities or country towns, this could actually be a golden ticket. 6. Permanent residency pathways are evolving. Let's talk PR, because let's be honest, everyone's end goal isn't visa. It's permanent residency, right? Australia is creating clearer transition pathways to PR, especially for long-term temporary visa holders. If you've been working here legally for years, contributing to the economy, and not being a public nuisance, congrats! Your odds just got better. They're also reviewing the temporary graduate visa pathways. Some occupations will now lead to faster PR options through the new Skills and Demand visa, which is replacing parts of the old temporary skills shortage program. This new visa is split into 3 streams: specialist, core, and essential, with clearer PR timelines depending on your stream. PR isn't one-size-fits-all anymore, as it's a choose-your-own adventure based on your job. 7. Protection visas and humanitarian policy shift. Now, this part isn't fun and light, but it's important. Australia is also making adjustments to protection and humanitarian visas. The key change? A tougher scrutiny process, with a focus on fast-tracking assessments, but also a stricter lens on credibility and country of origin conditions. They're also increasing the humanitarian intake quota slightly, which is a step forward, but simultaneously clamping down on abuse of protection visas as backdoor migration routes. The policy is being rebalanced to focus more on genuine refugees and people at risk, rather than economic migrants using the humanitarian channel. 8. Processing times are getting better for some visas. Yes, miracles happen. Starting July, the Department of Home Affairs is investing in automated processing tools and expanding visa case officer teams. The goal? Faster turnaround times. No more waiting 9 months to find out your visa application is still under assessment. They're aiming for clearer timelines, more transparency, and real-time status updates. So, hopefully, fewer sleepless nights staring at IMI account. 9. No more free ride with student visas. Alright, future scholars of Australia, let's talk. The student visa game is changing, and it's no longer the low-commitment, high-reward situation it once was. The government is basically saying, if you're coming to study, you better mean it. Post-study work rights are getting a major glow-down. Not everyone will automatically get those generous 2 to 4 year stays anymore. From now on, your degree needs to be directly linked to Australia's priority skills list. So, if you're in engineering, healthcare, or IT, you're still golden. But if your course sounds like something you'd explain with jazz hands at a dinner party, it might not cut it anymore. Also, financial proof is being taken a lot more seriously. You'll need to prove you can actually afford to live here. Not theoretically, but realistically. They're updating the living cost benchmarks to match actual rent and groceries. So yeah, studying in Australia is still awesome. So that's the Australia visa shakeup in a nutshell, and it's Australia trying to modernize a system that's been bursting at the seams for years. If you're already in the system, this could affect your existing pathway. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, drop your questions in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.